Hey everyone, it is November 28th, 2025, and this is a special Paraclue vodcast presentation. Only going to be on for maybe about 15 to 30 minutes. This one's dedicated to my brother, Jeremy Griffin, who is in spirit. Today is his birthday, and I'd like to take an opportunity to do this presentation in memory of him. So let's get right on.
So if you guys actually look at this image right here, we took this in the basement of a Lizzie Borden house. And I noticed that there was an apparition right here on the left side of the image. So if you look, you can see the head pretty well formed. I mean, the eye over there is a little out of whack, but it definitely connects to this neck that leads into a torso. Now, personally, I think this is really good evidence proving the existence of ghosts. But I'm gonna go ahead and leave that up to the table.
Proving, I'm not so sure. I mean, it's definitely a very good piece of evidence, that's for sure. But I mean, it's not proof. And proof is in the pudding.
Well, welcome everybody to a special broadcast of Paraclue. I'm your host for this one, John Griffin. What you just saw was actually a small little skit that my brother Jeremy and I had put together, and that video was actually edited after he had passed away. You start going through all of this stuff. The different photos and videos. You go through different memory cards, and all of a sudden you stumble upon these things, and it's just one of those great moments. Heartbreaking at the same time when you come across these things. But this is our fifth birthday. This is our fifth birthday without Jeremy. I know he's here in spirit with us. But today is, it's a celebration of his life. And, I stopped by his grave today. I did my traditional thing. We had one of our traditional things that my brother and I used to do together. Was after, I would, if, especially once I had moved out, I would always come down here. Sometimes his birthday fell on Thanksgiving. Sometimes we celebrated his birthday on Thanksgiving. Today it's the day after Thanksgiving. And, we would have cakes, do the presents, have, dinner. Jeremy always loved his ice cream cake. That was a big thing he was looking forward to. And on top of that, as you can see behind me, my mother, she puts up different Christmas decorations. My brother loved, he always, when it came down to the Thanksgiving, his birthday period, he wanted the Christmas trees up. It was a very big thing. And my mother has kept that tradition, going. Where I am sitting right now is Jeremy's room. It's also the place where his life ended, unfortunately. But looking at this from a more positive standpoint, what I was saying before with the birthday is after the cake, after the presents and all that. One of the traditions that Jeremy and I had is that we would come into his room here, and he had his huge computer system, 2 monitors. I mean, he built he was a genius. He built computers for fun. I mean, I actually have one of his computers. I mean, the guy's was a genius. And one of the things that we did was we just showed each other stupid videos that we found, the most random things. You never knew what we were going to show each other. We played games together. And on top of that, we always had our Mountain Dew. This is actually Jeremy's favorite flavor, which was Baja Blast. So now the tradition for me, we did this. The tradition was on my birthday and on his birthday. We did the same thing. It was the same routine. So it always ended with us hanging out in his room. playing video games, watching some silly videos, and sipping on some Mountain Dew. Now I go to his grave on my birthday and on his, and I have a Mountain Dew with me, and I try to have his favorite. So, and another thing that was funny, I got to show you this picture. This is something that Jeremy had done for such a long time. So I know the cake says that he's 32, but that's not what that he is not 32. He was not 32 in that picture. Jeremy had a habit. My parents would put the numbers on the cake, and he would always go and switch them around. So when he was 26, he was 62. When he was 29, he was 92. So he skipped around different different ages, and it was just a great. It was he had such a great sense of humor. So in this case, he would have been 35 today. In which case, for him, he's 53. So he's gone from 92 down to 53. So good for you on de-aging yourself here, Jeremy. I'm sure he's with me in spirit right now. But there's one of the things that I've been focused on since his passing, and on each of his birthdays, is making the promises to him and letting him know in spirit what my intentions are and how far we've come. Many of you are familiar with Project Apparition Hall, and Jeremy was one of the main starting points of Project Apparition Hall we worked on together. Many of you may be familiar with this picture. The picture of Jeremy in his lab coat, glasses and everything at the Wildwood Sanitarium. And it was the first actual Project Apparition Hall test, and he was the first apparition to come through. And it's just wild when you think about it. We both worked on this together. The experiment that we actually did was actually discussed before he had passed, about how we were going to change how Project Apparition Hall would work, because we weren't getting results in certain ways we were doing things. We were not advancing. We were trying to figure out the physics of all this, and it wasn't panning out. Before we could even test it, that's when Jeremy ended his life. It took me over a year before I decided to try to do the thing that Jeremy and I talked about for Project Apparition Hall. And out of all the scenarios that would be during an event at Wildwood Sanitarium, one of his favorite places, both of us, it was our home. It's our home away from home. And that's where his apparition appeared. And being the first apparition of Project Apparition Hall, it was like, see, John, when we discussed this, our ideas, the ideas that we were discussing, it worked. And for him, he's like, this is proof. I'm proof of it. So it's been a journey, especially, but that's just a few things. Then on top of that, him getting involved with the spirit box. This was September at Wildwood Sanitarium again, down in the basement with one of the owners of Wildwood Sanitarium, Lori. I want to play this. Now, anybody who knows me knows that for over 20 years, I could not stand spirit boxes. I had such a huge problem with them. I could not find a way to do measurements with them. I felt the stuff that we were hearing was just all random. And then this happened. Literally hearing my brother's first and last name come over in September. This was September of 2021. Literally hearing my brother say Jeremy Griffin. I was not in the basement when this happened. It was one of my team members, I believe it was Sarai, who went live. That was from a live video, and they came upstairs and said, "John, you gotta listen to this." And my parents were also at Wildwood Sanitarium, so they got to hear this as well. And then naturally after that, how do I argue? How do I argue with that? It sounds like Jeremy. I literally heard his first and last name clear as day. Um, it's like he's been guiding, and it just continues to provide hope to our family. So aside from, you know, uh, the different things that we've been going through, working on, and such, and the typical grieving process. I mean, let's be real, the grieving process is not typical for something like this. Um, but to have those experiences, um, it gave me some comfort, and it helped me to push forward and to try to bridge that gap between us. Um, Many of you who may have met Jeremy, Jeremy and I, back when Jeremy was live, and both of us, you probably noticed that we have a very close bond. We worked very close together. Jeremy was essentially my best friend, aside from being my brother. And he was goofy. That was one of the things we loved, hanging out and just, doing some silly things together. But the big thing is that people don't realize is that Jeremy and I both saw something deeper about the paranormal. We weren't in the paranormal to prove that ghosts exist. That's not why. Our reasoning is far more complex. So for the complex portion of this, yeah, of course, we would love to find out that ghosts are real, that there really is consciousness after passing, that our relatives are waiting for us on the other side. Of course, Jeremy and I have high hopes for that. But what Jeremy and I went through our haunting, how it affected us on a social level, how we saw how it affected other people on a social level, that's really what drove us to really get into this and really understand what happened to us, as well as what's happening with others, understanding the science behind it, and realizing just how much of an impact spiritual activity can have on society. And we're talking global, what spirits are capable of doing, with potentially affecting people. And this, of course, if spirits are truly real. You look at even the ancient text and see that there's a lot of spiritual interaction that has an impact on all different cultures. Even to this day, the different beliefs in the spirit realm have an impact on how society runs, how people may view society, view certain circumstances and such. In some cases, it's a really good thing. And then in other cases, we know that there's also evil that happens. People disagree about different beliefs or different spiritual beliefs and such, and then there's fights and arguments, even wars. Jeremy and I saw this on a deeper level and realized that the work that we're doing could, in fact, have a massive impact on a global scale. And that's not even just us, that's also the paranormal community in general. Whatever we find out and discover, we have to be careful. Jeremy and I said we have to be careful on how we present it, because we stumble upon a fact, like an actual fact about the paranormal. You find out that spirit activity is real. Spirits are real. Consciousness exists. How will society be impacted? How will laws change? Religion, how does that change? What about the field of psychology, the medical field? We thought about all of these things, and we realized that, some people may look at the paranormal and like, John, why do you do this? I mean, you're running around. Go do something productive. The productive portion of this that Jeremy and I have done, along with the UNI research team and the people that we work with, has a global impact. It can. And we realize that's the importance of it. So Jeremy and I always looked at this from a very, very deep standpoint. And we would drive. We're 5 hours away from our home, away from home, Wildwood Sanitarium. And Jeremy and I would just start talking. And we could go on for 5 hours straight and not even know. By the time we start talking, we start driving, getting there, snap of a finger, we're at Wildwood Sanitarium. So that's how in-depth our conversations have gotten when we're not, being a bunch of goofballs. And Jeremy, let me tell you about when it comes down to Jeremy. He's absolute goofball. Any pictures that you've seen, you may see his smirk. He's a devious person. One of my favorite moments, and then I want to make a quick announcement, was how we played Mario Kart. We loved Mario Kart. And Jeremy and I were very good at it. When we went at each other. The one thing I remember is he would, there were points if he was beating me, he would pull up to the finish line, but he would wait for me. If I was further behind, he would wait. And he would wait until I get closer, and he would be sitting there like looking at me and just having that smirk on his face. And then he would slowly crawl across the finish line, just taunting me. But I did the same thing for him too. There were points where I actually beat him when he decided to sit at the finish line, and I would come up to the side of him and ram him to the side, and then I would cross the finish line and be in first place. But I can't say he didn't do that to me too. So, brothers, we have to do these things to each other. But that leads into another announcement. One thing that Jeremy and I loved about Wildwood Sanitarium is that it's known as a place of healing. It was back when it was the sanitarium and such. People came there for holistic healing and other medical conditions, because of course the sanitarium had changed and was mandated to do certain take in specific patients. But we always found ourselves happy when we went there. And with our Wildwood family as well, Lori, Brooke, Zach, Aaron, Liz, Dale. We fell in love with the Wildwood family. We realized they were in this for not even just for paranormal research, but restoring the history and providing that sense of community. And you can see that with the work that they're doing now with like the pantry and all that. It's just absolutely incredible. And so Jeremy realized that it seemed like these spirits, people were getting messages from their lost loved ones at Wildwood Sanitarium. We've seen it multiple times, especially me during some of the history tours. And this fascinated us because people came there and they would get closure. They would feel better. They missed their family member. They had, some questions that they had. And then they would go to Wildwood Sanitarium and then boom, it's like they would look for their relative and their relative was there. And then they felt better. They finally got closure. So in a sense, they experienced healing. And that goes into Project Healing, which I mentioned in episode 6 of our Paraclue vodcast on Tuesday. Paraclue is going to be expanding. We are going to be expanding another day. We haven't picked out the day yet. It's something that I got to get with Zach and the crew to discuss. But it's going to be different. This additional episode per week is still going to be, we're still looking at the 2-hour thing, but it's not going to be focused on the investigation portion of it, of basically being at Wildwood Sanitarium and stuff like that. And that's where the healing part comes in. We want, as people have seen with our episodes so far, we created an environment where people come together, share their stories, send us funny memes of ourselves that we share, the different evidence, just a positive environment, as well as sharing different research aspects. The research aspect is not going to go away from the Paraclue series, but we wanted to focus on something that that helps people to believe in themselves, to motivate. And I know some people who may be on my social media pages have seen that I've posted a banner or a thumbnail that says, "Am I worthless?" And it's about a motivational story. There's going to be that video that releases. It's only going to be approximately 10 minutes long, but that's just the beginning of it. That's the begin to introduce the series itself. And what our hope is that people are going to either send in their stories. We're still going to take the callers, but then we want to bring in the spiritual aspect. We want to bring into the aspect about healing. So whether it be through different like meditations and such, different communication with spirits as well, potentially closure, and bringing on some special guests, because believe me, there are some special guests that this really applies to, where they have inspirational stories. We want people to realize you're not alone. You're not alone in this. And that's something that Jeremy and I had felt throughout our haunting, is we felt very alone in it. But we got that community that we all started to come together. We started finding that other people were going through the same thing. And this was just an amazing thing for us. So that's, I'm not releasing full details yet. Just similar to how we launched with the Paraclue episode, and there were many surprises that came with that. There's going to be surprises with this one. We are going to be looking to get the first version of that episode out sometime next month, so it will be before the end of the year. Stay tuned to our social media pages. This is inspired by both Wildwood Sanitarium, the experiences that we've heard from other people, different stories over the years, and the feedback that we've gotten from the Paraclue vodcast so far. And of course, inspired by one of the missions that was near and dear to Jeremy's heart, which was always being there for those who felt alone in the world. And so, and of course, if you have ideas, some things that you would like to see with that, please let us know. We're still going to have topics and such, but the topics are going to look different. So we'll have the topics for that episode. And then we're still going to have our Tuesday episodes, which is going to delve into all the ufology and such. And then the Paraclue portion of it is understanding the clues for the motivational stuff of how the spirits, like the spiritual stuff, is involved with this. And you hear these stories where you had guardian angels or something that got involved, and there's some incredible stories, and we really want to highlight that stuff. So, and on top of that, we want something that it's during the weekday. You have work, you've had a stressful day. We want you to come to this, and just like the Tuesday ones, it's that feel good and enjoy, smile, laugh with us, tell some great stories, get motivated, and go out there and continue to make progress for society, make progress for yourself. So again, feel free to reach out if you have any advice for that. Otherwise, we have some details that'll be coming up soon. Last but not least, closing, I'd like to say, for my brother, happy birthday, happy heavenly birthday. We all miss you. We love you. Thank you for being there in spirit and everything that you have done over the years. Again, I can't, it's never the same. I know it never will be the same without you. You were my best friend, for 30 years. I was blessed. I was blessed to have a brother like you. Regardless of our disagreements, any times that we fought, none of that matters. You were amazing. I remember all the great times, and we're going to continue to keep your legacy and your work alive, keep the mission going, bring people together. I promise. Thank you, everyone.